Morning, Piggy.
Morning. Reading is fundamental. A lot of y'all remember that little ditty being advertised years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason for that. In live last night, I put forth something in a comment, and at the end of that comment, I said, just a thought. Well, first and foremost, when you read something, you got to read the whole thing in order to get the full context of a thought being conveyed. And to convey means to get someone else to understand a thought you have. You know, kind of like a conveyor belt that's going from me to you or you to me. Convey. For those of y'all who don't know what convey means, because I'm sure there's some that don't.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tell when somebody reads a whole comment and when they don't. 9 times out of 10, folks ain't reading the whole comment because I put that thought forth and I wasn't thinking about how controversial it would be. Especially when people don't read the whole comment. All you folks out there, y'all taking part of a comment, not reading the whole thing, and you go off half-cocked about the whole thing. Making up the rest. You don't see the rest of it. You just see that one part, you go off and you go with it. So I have to go back to remembering that you people don't read it all. Just like sitting in a conversation with somebody face to face, I can guarantee you every one of you that didn't read the whole comment are the same type of people that only listen to part of what somebody says, and you assume the rest, and then you get a misunderstanding, and there you go. Now you've got a problem. And all right, Popo, I've got made you a space there so you can get by me. And anyway, there was things being discussed, and you know, about certain things. So I thought came to mind, and I was kind of like, you know, I kind of wonder this and this and this. And then I said, just a thought. Everybody was taking it like I fully believed what I said. No, it was just a thought. I wonder if. I don't know if I wonder if. I may have put, you know, it might be possible. And I based it off of something else in the Bible. Because it is possible. But it was just a thought. There's folks going off on me about it as though I put it out there as a confirmed fact. No, it was just a thought. Folks, this is why I say I do not discuss higher intellectual postulations about metaphysical things. Yeah, I put some beggings out there for you. How about that? Because reading is fundamental and y'all don't take care of the fundamentals. first off. Second off, yeah, I have that my last one of my last jobs. I had a boss who told me I needed to take my level of speaking down a notch because I was talking over people's heads. I was already doing less than a fifth grader level. How much lower do I need to get? A, B, C, 1, 2, 3?
Nowadays, yeah.
You know? Why? Because folks too lazy to read a whole comment or listen to a whole thought before thinking about it and then speaking. Now you just go off half-cocked. Yeah, I got a lot of other than big words too. But I ain't using them. Because don't nobody understand them. I got a friend that lives in St. Louis. He's a high-polluting scientist. He was in education for a while at a university, overseeing, supervising the professors' itinerary, what they were teaching and how they were teaching it. And because he was smarter than they were, that's why he was in that position. He was making sure the quality of the education was good. Why would he do that? Well, because you want people that has that degree to have earned it. He got out of that and went to working for some other company in a very high level position.
Later.
You know, this is a guy who's studied and trained and worked at places like Cambridge, real big, highfalutin name in education. He told me once, he said, he called me the smartest man he'd ever met. I thought, what? How you figure? He didn't ever explain it. But I think one of the reasons was simply the fact I knew how to say when I was wrong, and I knew how to say, school me because I don't understand. You know, part of the path to becoming wise and educated is to ask questions and not assume what somebody is saying because you don't want to look stupid. Now, I think that might be why he told me that. And real simple as to why. I mean, you know, which is more stupid, to ask a question because you don't understand, or to nod your head like you know what they're talking about when you don't? And that way, when you get further down in the conversation, something will happen that will let them know you did not understand what they said earlier. You know, a lot of people are real big about using the acronym for Bible being beginner's instructions before leaving Earth. Folks, the Bible is the basics. That's just the user's manual before you operate that vehicle. After you operate that vehicle, you start learning a lot more about that vehicle and what that user's manual can tell you. because there's more to it. You know, and think about that. But you won't have to worry about thinking about that, because I won't be putting forth any more postulations that come across my mind, because that lends credence to what I say about, I don't tell folks 90% what I know and what I think. Because you ain't ready for it. I'll just say this. God gave us a brain. He gave us a mind. He meant for us to use it. You know, the Bible tells us that we're supposed to meditate upon the Word all day. Not just a little bit. Because you start meditating on it. And to meditate is to think about it. You start opening your mind up to thinking about it. You know, you got a dog and you're trying to train it. You can tell a dog that's going to be open to being trained and one that ain't. Guess who God's going to talk to? I've heard God talk to me in dreams, in being called up, in the wind, in the thunder, in the rain. He has talked to me. And, boy, that sun is bright.
All right.
So, when you wonder why God ain't talking to you, that might be one reason why. You ain't using your brain to listen and think. You want somebody else to explain it to you, or you want to lean on under your own understanding and going with it. And yeah, it's obvious to some of us, the others who are leaning under their own understanding, because they're incorporating ideologies from different areas, different eras, and don't see the progression of what's going on here. They get it mixed up. You know, kind of like the archaeologists do, because they don't understand what happened when the Great Flood happened. The waters of the deep got shot out from under the earth's crust and shot up into the air miles high, pretty doggy. And then come back down. What happens when you toss a salad?
And how you stumbled up.
Uh-huh. That's the same thing that happened when the Great Flood happened and he broke up the waters of the deep. It was under such pressure, like a pressure washer, shot straight up into the sky, and everything got mixed up, like tossing a salad. So archaeologists, they go to digging, and they don't understand why they do that carbon dating, and they'll have a lower layer that they're working on, date earlier than a higher layer. Because it all got jumbled up. Not to mention carbon dating is not accurate by any means. That's been proven. Look up Trey Smith and listen to him and find one where he's talking about that. And he will explain to you why carbon dating does not work. Kind of the same thing along the same lines. Then they take and they try to piece together those different eras based on that. And they get it wrong. They don't know they're getting it wrong because they don't want to be wrong. Because if they analyze the Bible, rightly dividing the word, and add that in there with it to help them discover what's really going on, well, then that would be admitting that there is a God. And they try and explain everything away by the Big Bang Theory, which technically there was a Big Bang. God took E equals MC squared, twisted it around to make matter instead of destroying to get energy, and produced all this, and boom, Big Bang. So then God flung the stars from his fingertips. From our minuscule perspective in life, that would be a Big Bang.
Yep.
You know, but people ain't wanting to rightly divide the word, and they get different eras mixed up because they don't understand it. So they accept things that make it understandable to them on their level. And it's wrong. Sorry, not sorry. There's some of you out there that do need it explained to you by somebody who knows what they're talking about. Somebody that's not only studied the word, but had God show it to them through the Holy Ghost. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying that because we don't all have the same intellectual level. We don't all have the same intellectual understanding of things. Like that friend of mine in St. Louis. He makes me look like the dunce in the class. Intellectually speaking, he's got a much higher IQ than I've got. I accept that. That's what God gave me to work with. So to be less intelligent than somebody else is not a bad thing. That's what God gave you to work with. I recognize my level. I recognize my station in life. I recognize that I'm smarter than some and a lot dumber than others. That's just a fact of life. And it's better to recognize when something is beyond you than to try and fake it to make it, because you ain't going to make it because you're faking it and you ain't got it to do it. That's just as simple as it gets. I know that sounds mean, that sounds harsh, but it's just the truth of the matter. Don't stand staunch on something that you want to believe in because it's what you can understand, knowing that you can't understand anything higher, anything more highbrow, so to speak. You know, I know so much. But see, that's also why I I'm not a scripture and verse type person. I'm not a chapter and verse type person. I don't have the memory for it. That's not a failing. That's just a fact of life. That's how God made me. That's why I select the foundation builders that I select to listen to. You know, even Jesus was ministered unto. Who am I to think I'm any better than that? So I find those who are chapter and verse and who do have a solid foundation and are able to build a solid foundation. Like Dale. I listen to him because I need that. Piggy loves you.